Good morning to all traders and welcome to this week's last Market Insights video. Today is the 28th of June, not only the last day of the week, the last trading day, but also the last trading day of this month. So we are expecting end of month flows to kick in. Rest assured that volatility is going to be high and we're probably going to see large moves coming through in the markets, coming in, right? So today, I'm not going to talk about euro dollar or dollar yen. We're talking about majors. They both have been a bit boring, to be honest. We've seen the Canadian dollar moving quite a bit, and also I would say a little bit more volatility on the pound as well compared to other majors. All these commodity pairs have actually been fueled by the tensions around US and Iran over the past few days. Now, and as well as the optimism that there might be some sort of compromise between US and China after the G20 meeting. Now, that might be a bit over-optimistic, but the truth is that the Canadian dollar started really raising, to like fresh monthly levels after Tuesday's wholesale numbers. Now, the thing is that we're expecting GDP today as well from Canada and pounds, okay? And the truth is that the Canadian bank, the BOC, is the only bank that have actually remained relatively muted around all this economic slowdown crisis, let's call it. Every bank has turned dovish apart the dollar, apart the Canadian. And so people start actually shifting to the Canadian dollar, and that is the reason we're going to look at that. Before we do, of course, don't forget, GDP at 11:30 Cyprus time, and then of course GDP in Canada at 3:30 for the dollar CAD. Later in the session we'll have some not as important data from the US, as well as the Michigan consumer sentiment, which is more likely going to be a little bit important, and then BOC business outlook also to pay attention to. So jumping to the charts, I want to start with the pound dollar 120. 2 hours, we're here moving on an ABC, right? We have identified a while ago, we were down in the last impulse over here, and this is where we see a reversal. Now, prices either are going for an ABC or this is going to be an impulse. It looks like an impulse, to be honest, but we're going to see how this is going to play out. And then we're going to have 3, 4, and 5 moving up to probably 134 or so. That might be the medium to long-term target, but of course it depends on what happens with Boris. When we get these signals, we have a hidden divergence and then a normal divergence on the shorter term. That normally is a good indication that prices are going to go into the direction that this bias, the last one, is showing it. And that is a good potential. Now, the thing is, if we go down to the 15-minute chart, this is quite short today, there is different scenarios here, okay? One is that we're moving on the upside here, okay? We'll have the ABC correction we expect here, right? Or that can be an 1, 2, and 3. So after ending this impulse here, we're now at an ABC, okay? ABC can finish here. If we consider this as an open toggle, then we could be expecting prices to come up here around 127, 127, 500, and then go down for wave C. From here is where we expect prices to start moving higher. If we go lower on the other scenario, and we assume that this is wave E, this is not a triangle, so this is a failure, then we're looking at A, B, and also C to come down here, okay, around 126.54, and then start looking for buys. And the other scenario, the last scenario, is this potential over here that we have completed the ABC correction, okay, over here. And now we are actually completing a flat pattern. So prices should start moving higher from that level. Okay, now invalidation in most cases, you will see that is the 125.69, and then of course the 125 or so. As long as prices remain above that level, we're still looking for bulls to step in and push prices higher. Okay, today, with the GDP data, we are going to see whether prices are going to complete this pattern, or this pattern, okay? or at least some sort of signals. Now on dollar CAD, we were talking about prices moving a little bit lower to complete the last wave to the downside, and this actually happened. That was the case to 131, and that was a pretty good trade, to be honest. But the thing is that I believe that we're looking for prices to move in even lower, okay? Given the fundamentals also support this outcome, of course. If we go a little bit lower, and how I see this happening, right? So we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like we ended right here, and this is the wave 3 in the longer term, okay? So we'll have this impulse, then an ABC correction, and then another impulse to the downside. So this is like a zigzag, okay? And now we expect a correction that is going to take prices up to 132 or even higher to, 133 so, 133 to 100 also. This is, of course, a scenario that might just not play in. We might have a very short correction to 131, 800 or so, then prices will continue lower. We'll see how this pans out in the future. But for the shorter term, I'm definitely expecting a correction down here to at least 131, okay? Since we have had this last impulse also ending at around 130.75. Now, there might be a case that we might see the price just really want to take that level out because it hasn't happened so far. Once this tags that level, 130.75, then we're looking for bulls to start increasing their bets to the upside. So this is for the day. GDPs in the UK and Canada. I will pay attention on dollar CAD and pound dollar, and end of month and end of week flows likely to come in as well. So thank you for watching for another day. I want to remind you that it's a very good idea to visit our blog. It's where we cover the latest ideas, publish all the latest news, and provide all the necessary tools a trader needs.